Hello, everyone. Welcome back to one of the worst channels on YouTube. We managed to get a nice 10 average viewers, but it's been even lower. Um, Now, one thing I really want to talk about quick is we have not been uploading. We've not uploaded in about 3 months. I do want to address that really quick before I hop into this video. Um, so YouTube's been kind of fucking us pretty bad with the long dong of the law. Um, we've gotten 3 videos taken down for supposed hate speech and 2 strikes. So if we get one more, our channel is gone. Um, Obviously this really is an issue to us. It's really been hurting our motivation. So which is kind of why we haven't, you know, um, we haven't been uploading or we haven't been around. We've also been working on another YouTube channel that is going to be linked in the description, which is our music channel. We are doing a duo of music, and we thought that would be a cool idea to talk to you guys about and kind of advertise. So that's going to be in the description. We have a song going on over there pretty soon. So please check it out if you can. We are not going to actually link anything in the description, despite what I just fucking said, until there's at least one song over there. But today I wanted to do something that means a lot to me. So if you don't know, I'm an avid Dark Souls player. I have played all 3 Dark Souls games through multiple times, 3 or 4 times. I have fucking like 500 hours in each game. Um, I really, really, really am a fan of Dark Souls games. I think Bloodborne is probably my favorite. I have not played Sekiro, despite how much I want to. Elden Ring I played. Actually was not a huge fan of Elden Ring. I know, fucking shoot me. It was all right. I liked Dark Souls better, to be honest. Mostly 1, because I think that's my favorite. I would probably go 1, 3, 2, because I just fucking hate 2. Well, it's all right, but definitely not the best. But what I wanted to do today was I wanted to rank every single Dark Souls boss and like kind of give my opinions on it. I have no idea if this includes DLC. I mean, Knight Artorias is there, so I'm assuming it does include DLC, but let's start it off. So the first one we have is the Iron Golem. It's going to be the boss after Sen's Fortress. It leads you over. Well, I guess I should probably do no fucking spoilers, but Iron Golem is fine, I guess, average. There's really nothing memorable about the fight. It's just a giant suit of armor. The attacks are really easy to dodge. Like, you just stay underneath. It really isn't that exciting. There's really not a lot to talk about, be impressed with. I mean, he does have a throwing attack where he will throw his axe, but other than that, it's just really not a hard fight. It's not super exciting. I don't even remember the soundtrack, so just overall not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. Just pretty forgettable, I'd say. Now the second one is Gwyn, Lord of Cinder from Dark Souls 1. Now, a lot of Dark Souls bosses, they're kind of notorious for having really easy final bosses. And I would say Gwyn again is I'm gonna have to put Gwyn at average 2, I think. Just because when I've beaten him with the Gravelord sword, Claymore, beaten him with magic, beat him with Smo's hammer. It's just not a super tough fight. Like, his patterns are pretty easy. He's really easy to parry. Out of the Dark Souls final bosses, I'd say that's probably one of the easier ones. Nashandra is pretty easy too, but Gwyn is It's pretty easy. Great Grey Wolf Sith. I'm actually gonna put that one at good. I really like how Sif looks. I really like the lore. I like the cutscene. The actual boss itself, I wouldn't say is like the hardest thing. But the soundtrack is good. I really like the soundtrack. I like how they put additional detail into Sif. When you get her below a certain percentage of health, she starts to limp. I think that is just ridiculous. It's fucking completely. How could you do that to us, FromSoft? It just makes you feel guilty because you can't fucking skip her, despite how much you want to. But I think Sif is good. I wouldn't say awesome or legendary. I would say that out of the Dark Souls fights, that's one you're gonna fondly remember. But I don't think it's gonna like jump out as a, as a fantastic fight. Gravelord Nito is fucking terrible. I wouldn't say awful. Gravelord Nito is bad. That fight is not fucking fun. The soundtrack is really not anything to write home about. I don't even fucking remember the soundtrack, to be completely honest with you. I fucking hate the fact that there's so many skeletons because you either have to dodge him or throw on a divine weapon. Gravelord Nito himself is like fucking extremely easy. Besides his power within attack that fucking toxics you, his actual attacks when you like get right up on him are incredibly easy to dodge. He is pretty simple. I mean, he's slow. He's lugging. I mean, he's just not. It's just not a great fight in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's awful, but it is definitely below average, I would say. I am really not a fan of that fight. You can fucking cheap the bitch out if you just, like, fight Nito away from the skeletons. I mean, point is I don't like it. Gaping Dragon, good. There's a good mechanic on it, I'd say. I kind of like the fact it's one of the bosses where you chop the tail and you get the weapon. If I remember correctly, I actually did like the soundtrack to this. It was pretty, triumphant sounding, so I actually did like the soundtrack on this one. I'd say the boss itself, again, isn't really that hard. Actually, you know what? I've convinced myself. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's good. Like, I definitely think Sif has a little bit on the Gaping Dragon. I think you will remember the Gaping Dragon. I just am not sure if it's going to be, like, really memorable to you. Four Kings, awesome. I actually really like the Four Kings. The fact that it's 4 different bosses makes it really interesting. The attack patterns, a lot of people might think are bullshit. I don't think it is. The fact that you have to get the ring to jump down there, that's a fucking amazing level design. I mean, I really like how Dark Souls especially links up every single area perfectly. It literally comes like full circle. It's so good with level design. I really do like the Four Kings. Again, I just think that the environment in the Void is really cool. I think the Four Kings look cool. I think their attacks look cool. I mean, I really like this boss. And that's why I'm putting it at awesome. Demon Fire Sage is also bad. It's your third fucking reskin of the first boss. It's, you know what? No, awful. Just awful. I mean, it's terrible. It is the third reskin of the same fucking first boss. Alright? That far into the game? No. That's not... I mean, I guess you can do fucking Lost Izalith, like, immediately as soon as you can. That can be, like, the first thing you do. But, not a fan. Gwendolyn, I'd say, is awesome. Again, I do remember the soundtrack for Gwendolyn. I think that that is one of the most unique FromSoft bosses. I think that once you memorize how to dodge all 3 of his attacks, it's a really fulfilling fight. I think it's fun. The Infinite Corridor thing is cool. The lore with Gwen is really cool. I think that that will be a fight that you either hate or love, just because you either think it's hard or you don't think it's hard. I've really liked that fight. I just really like it because you can't just run at it with a shield. Like, it's good positioning. Like, it's using the room to your advantage where you hide behind the arrows. I really like this fight. Crossbreed Priscilla is also awesome. Again, I love the lore with Crossbreed Priscilla. I love the lore with the Painted World. I love the mechanics of the Painted World. I think that Crossbreed Priscilla being able to skip her is really, really cool if you want to. Um, I think that she is really not a hard fight. Like, I'm pretty sure that anybody could fight her and win because she's really not that hard. I will say that the invisible mechanic, where you have to look at her footprints in the snow, I'd say it's pretty cool. I don't know if it's super accurate, and it can be kind of annoying. Um, I just the look of the arena, the look of her herself, the lore of her, the way that she fights defensively because she has been, you know, shunned and hurt. I think that it's a very good fight. It's maybe not the hardest fight, but I feel like it's one that you'll remember. Chaos Witch Quelaag, legendary. It just is. The soundtrack, again, I fucking love the soundtrack on this. I like the attacks. Maybe it's just because she's fucking hot, and that's what it is. Um, People might disagree with me with legendary. I think that that's one of the fights that I always remember. And Blighttown itself, I actually really like Blighttown. It is nowhere near the irritation factor of the Gutter in Dark Souls 2. I like Blighttown for the simple fact that once you realize how to beat Blighttown, it is like the easiest thing ever. You can clear a fucking Blighttown in like 25 minutes. Like once you realize how to do it. I really like Chaos Witch Quelaag. I think that her attack patterns, the forward stab into the ground, is really showing you that sometimes you do need to dodge backwards instead of just left or right. You know? I like the lava pools. I like the fact that you get the Great Pyromancy after that. I just really like her lore as well. Taurus Demon is pretty average. I really don't think anyone remembers this motherfucker just because of the fact that you can just plunge attack him twice and he's dead. I feel like this dude is like one of the fights that is just free souls. I really don't think that this fight anybody really cares about. Centipede Demon, I'd actually say is awesome. I mean, the mechanics of Centipede Demon, it is an easy boss, but I do like the mechanics of being trapped on an island. While the fight, you know what, actually, it's just good. Because I bring it down to good because of the sheer fact that with Centipede Demon, you can quite literally just kind of stand underneath his legs and just hit him. And if you dodge correctly, you're going to be able to do that, like, the entire time. Like, I literally just tanked him out with fucking Smo's hammer. Like, once. It's crazy. You know, I really don't think this fight is anything special. I don't think it's bad. Like, I think that it is semi-memorable, especially because you get the lava ring. I'd say that this is definitely a positioning check for how good your positioning is. I'd say that it's too hard, you know, for people who I don't know, lock on, but I really don't think this fight is anything special for a lot of people. I think that it's fine. I don't think it's okay. I think it's good, but there's just not a lot of things that are memorable. It's pretty easy if you know what to do. It's fine. Oh, cool. Oh, awesome. Fucking Ceaseless Discharge is next. A fucking Ceaseless Discharge. Fucking Ceaseless Discharge is next. I really love this boss. This boss immediately goes to Legendary. The first 2 times I beat this motherfucker, I actually fought him. Like, I just fought him. So, that really irritated me. But the fact that there is a scripted way that you can just instantly kill this motherfucker, even if you don't do it on the first time, is good. The lore on that is really good. I like how it's his sister stuff that you grab and he gets fucking angry. I really like how they demonstrate that this is a creature that's just in pure agony. The only thing that brings him comfort is the memory of his sister. And you grab it, and he is enraged. I love this fight. I don't remember the soundtrack, but I do like this fight. It can be irritating if you don't know what to do, but I do think this fight is fun. I do think it's legendary. It is probably one of the best. in the game just because maybe not the best in the game, but it's definitely legendary status. Just because it's a gimmick, it's one of the actually fun gimmicks. You can fight him head on if you want to. The lore is good. I really like the arena. Again, this is just personal opinion. You can disagree if you want, but I actually do really like Ceaseless Discharge. Capra Demon goes straight to fucking awful. Absolute piece of shit. I fucking can't stand it. You know what? For skipped, I'm actually going to change this from skipped because I didn't do that. So I'm just going to put this to... Oh my god. What the fuck were you doing? Capra Demon. Fuck Capra Demon. It's a fucking complete piece of shit. I don't like it. The boss music is completely forgettable. I don't think anyone even fucking pays attention because this fight is bullshit. Like, the narrow fucking corridor, the just constant looping over and over, the dogs. This fight is terrible. Like, it's bad. Like, I fucking hate it. I really hate it. You know, fuck. Do I want to keep Gravelord Nido at bad? Or is it awful? I don't think it's awful. Just because it's kind of... Like, it tests your adaptability, I guess. Like, throw on a fucking divine weapon and wreck house with it. Legit. I mean, it's... Black Dragon Calamite. I'd say it's good. I don't remember this fight very much. I've only done it twice. I think the area leading up to Calamite is fine. I think the DLC area is really good. The fight of Black Dragon Calamite, it's just... I'm gonna sound like a fucking elitist. I'm not trying to be. This fight is just really underwhelming. Like, it reminds me a lot of the Sanctuary Guardian fight. I feel like this fight is not ridiculously easy, but it is too easy to be DLC, in my opinion. Like, I like this fight, don't get me wrong, bro. Black Dragon Calamite looks fucking sick. Cannot remember the soundtrack. The arena is cool. I just really think that this fight could have been something more, you know? I really think it could have been more. Bell Gargoyles, average, they're fine. I mean, I think that it's probably one of the hardest fights you can get into early game. I think that it definitely gets you ready for ONS later on. I'd say it's just fine. I mean, I remember the soundtrack. It's just the soundtrack, I don't know. It just sounds like generic adventure soundtrack in my opinion. It's just not great. It just sounds like kind of like generic boss fight music. It doesn't really have any oomph on it. It doesn't really have any emotions tied real close to it. I mean, the fight is fine. It's average. It's really not anything you're going to write home about. You might struggle with it pretty badly your first time through, but I feel like you beat it once, you got it every single time past that really easily. We're not talking about Beta Chaos. It's a fucking piece of shit. It's a complete piece of shit, and I fucking hate it. Boss music is absolutely terrible. The premise of the boss is fucking garbage. I know that you can just, like, throw on, like, a fucking, like, grass crest shield or whatever the fuck, and literally just shield, and that's it. Because if you shield, it's gonna block the fucking tree arms. You can just run. I mean, you can do that. You can do it with a shield first try. Legit. If you're good, you can do it with a shield first try. This motherfucker can be, like, 3 minutes long. But it's terrible. It's one of the gimmick bosses that everybody fucking hates. Like, it's boring. It's not fun. Like, even when you do it first try in 3 minutes, it's boring. Who fucking cares about this thing? It's not good. Literally, I'm sorry, but Beta Chaos should have been called Beta Laziness. Because this is the worst fucking boss. It's so lazy. They have never done a boss like this except for Demon Souls. I am not a fan of this fight. I don't think anybody fucking is, because it sucks. Asylum Demon, okay. For a first fight, I actually think that Asylum Demon is alright, because, above all else, it shows that sometimes you're not just going to be able to face a boss head up. It lets you know that there are going to be ways that you can outmaneuver these bosses. There's going to be like extra things you can do. Like, it lets you know, about it even kind of like foreshadows Taurus Demon, how you're going to have to use that mechanic later on. Um, I think that there's bosses like that, a lot of them in like Dark Souls 2, for example. You know, that are just kind of like like they're almost like tutorials. It's like letting you know that sometimes you're gonna have to do things differently. Like a Lost Sinner DS2, perfect example. You want to just take it on without the lights on? You can do that, fine. Like, but it's gonna be harder. You know, it's the same thing with Asylum Demon. Vendrick, awesome. I actually like Vendrick. I think that Vendrick is a fucking extremely difficult boss. I think that the way that Vendrick moves and attacks kind of emphasizes the slow, almost precision of Dark Souls 2, because you can't just fucking spam roll like in Dark Souls 3 or Dark Souls 1 even to a degree. You can just spam roll, you know? I feel like Dark Souls 3 is probably one of the worst examples of just spamming a roll, you know, because you can do that a lot. Dark Souls 1, you can do it pretty easily too, but not as easily. But Vendrick I like. I think that the fact that you have to... One of the things I really like is that you can't even really start the boss until you're ready for it. Because you have to do a certain amount of damage to him. And if you have no fucking, like, Soul of Giants, then it's going to take you forever to do enough damage to, like, start the fucking fight. So I think that's cool. Again, Vendrick is also cool because it lets you know, again, that there are extra things you have to do. If you want to try and take on Vendrick, he has 16 times his fucking defense and attack. He's going to wipe the floor with you. Even trying and taking him on with, like, fucking only 3 of them, you know? He's still, like, fucking, like, 8 times, you know? Like, 4. You get all 5 of them and he's 2 times. I mean, I like Vendrick for the fact that it emphasizes that you're going to have to learn his patterns and be precise. Because he attacks kind of quickly. You know, he has no windup. He just kind of attacks. You know, he's extremely powerful. He's slow, but I think it's a good late stage boss fight. Again, I can't really remember the music. I just remember this guy, whenever I play him, kind of being an issue. Velstadt, the Royal Aegis, good. I'd say good. I remember the boss music. The boss music is good. I actually like the boss music. I think that he's challenging. I think that it's a very good way to lead into Vendrick, because I think Vendrick is just kind of a stronger version of Velstadt. You know, he's slow, he kind of telegraphs his attacks a little bit, but Velstadt can fucking clean your clock. Like, there are attacks with Velstadt that you can be wiped out in like one fucking hit. Like, the thing is that Velstadt punishes people who are not timing their rolls. If you are just being frantic and rolling without really paying attention, you're gonna get fucked with Velstadt. But also, I think at the same time, Velstadt is an enemy that has a lot of weaknesses you can exploit, like getting behind him, or just beating his ass when he's doing the bell chime. But I actually think that Velstadt is good. I would not say he's as good as Vendrick is in terms of, like, difficulty. I do like Velstadt, though. Twin Dragon Riders, average. It's a pretty easy fight. You're just kind of fighting 2 of a boss you already... I'm not a fan of reskins, dude. Like, if you're gonna reskin something, like, be a little bit creative with it. I fucking hate fights like this. Like, I don't like reskins. It just kind of shows laziness, in my opinion. There's really no reason to reskin something, except for Stray Demon, which... Okay. I'd say it's okay. It takes the first boss, makes it harder, adds an additional attack that actually prepares you for Fire Sage Demon later on. I think that it's a fine fight just because you're in the exact same area, you know? So you're almost like going down a level, you know? It literally is just an upgraded version of the first boss. Like, and I like the feel of that. You're going back to the starting area, an area that may or may not have been grueling for you, or could have been easy for you. Probably easy. If it's grueling for you, you probably should just quit playing fucking FromSoft games. The beginning is grueling for you, but it makes it harder. Not much harder, but it kind of lets you know that you've come a long way, I'd say. Throne Watcher and Throne Defender. I'm gonna put it good. Justification for that. There's just so many like twin fights in Dark Souls 2 and all other games. I feel like we've just kind of seen something like this done before. I feel like they actually did it way better than a lot of them because these two really play off of each other's strengths and weaknesses. I think the fight is overall pretty easy just because you can kind of bait one to attack you a bunch. I think that Throne Watcher is pretty fucking annoying because she can flip out of the way your attacks so fucking quick. This is not super fair. I think that the reviving mechanic is kind of shitty. I mean, because you might not know that at first. So if they're not like, super low health, like you only focus on one, you're probably not going to be able to kill her before she revives, and it's kind of annoying to have to do the entire fight again. You will learn, yeah. I just think it's kind of cheap. Again, this is a good fight. I think that people may not remember this fight, but I feel like the majority of people think that this is a good fight. I don't think it's bad. I think that it's not amazing, but it is a good fight. The Rotten. Honestly, I'm going to put the Rotten at average. I'm really not a fan of the boss music. It sounds pretty empty. The fire around the room is fine. I really don't feel like it adds anything, to be honest. Like, besides just avoiding the fire, His attack's pretty easy, I'd say. His, movement is kind of slow. I think it's average. Like, for a great soul, I really don't think this fight is super challenging. I mean, it's fine, It's just not super challenging. Like, this guy moves really slow. His damage output, I don't even think is, like, justifiable for how slow he is. His grab doesn't do a lot of damage. Like, it just feels like this guy... Maybe that was the point, because he's in the gutter, and he's the Rotten. But it really just feels like this boss is just not cannon fodder, but it's definitely not your strongest opponent. It almost feels like FromSoft was a little bit laid back and lenient with the boss because the area that followed was so fucking bullshit. Like, really, the areas are just not, like, they're just not fun. Like, Black Gulch is not fun with all the fucking poison. The gutter is not fun because how fucking dark it is. Like, the Rotten is average for sure. Last Giant, I'd say average too. I think the Asylum Demon is way better of a first boss. Last Giant is just way too easy. It highlights one of the flaws of Dark Souls 2's combat engine, which is just characters that have a stomp, just bait the stomp every single time, and you're fine. Same thing with fucking, Giant Lord. It's not great. I wouldn't say it's bad. I mean, I'd say it's average. It's just, like, this is one of those bosses where, like, Asylum Demon, I can understand how you might die a couple of times. Lost Giant, if you die more than, like, once or twice, that is, like, embarrassing to me. It's not, like, even for new players, it's not hard. Like, even if you haven't played a Dark Souls game, you just go straight into Dark Souls 2, this fight is not hard. You literally just bait stomp every time. The Duke's Dear Freya. That is a good fight. Is it awesome? No, because I don't think that the soundtrack is that great. But I do actually like how Duke's Dear Freya forces you to fight both of the heads. You can't just focus on one. You have to fight both. All the spiders in the area, too, I think is also really cool because they're testing your knowledge on how much you paid attention. Because there are subtle hints throughout the game that spiders are afraid of Torch. No matter where you encounter spiders, Bright Cove, fucking Seldora, Duke's Dear Freya, like anywhere you encounter spiders, they are going to be afraid of your Torch. And Duke's Dear Freya is a boss that tests your knowledge on that. And I think that's good. I think that it is one of those bosses to where it really is going to be easier or harder depending on how deep you've been paying attention to the game, how invested you are, how knowledgeable you are. It's scaling. I mean, the more knowledge you have, the more rewards you get, the more easier things are. This is a perfect example of that. Smelter Demon. I fucking love this fight. That's going in... It's going in awesome. I don't think it's legendary status. This fight's awesome. The fact that his crank lets you know when he's going to swing, and that it almost ties into the amazing music. Like, this fight is more of a rhythm game than anything else. Like, he goes creak, and he fucking swings, you know, as he, like, winds up. I really like this fight. This fight is super fun. He looks cool. The arena is awesome. This is a tough but fair fight. I really am a fan of... I'm a fan of Smelter Demon. I really like this fight. This is one of probably the better bosses in Dark Souls 2. Probably one of my favorites in Dark Souls 2, honestly. I love that fight. Skeleton Lords. Average. It's nothing to write home about. It really is not anything to write home about. I just don't think it's that great. Nobody likes these fights. It's just a bunch of guys with low health that don't do a lot of damage. It's like, you literally beat this fight by just running around in a circle, like, around the room, and just having enough Estus. Like, it's just not great. Sir Alane. Good. I actually put Sir Alane and Velstadt kind of at the same. I actually like Sir Alane's boss area way better. Legit, I do. I think his attacks are kind of the same. I think that his design is a little bit cooler than Velstadt. I just don't think he's awesome status. Slumbering Dragon. That's a good fight, I'd say. I mean, it's better than some of the other fucking dragon fights, I'll say that. Scorpionus Nakja, or Najka, or whatever. Average. I'm not a fan of that fight either. The attacks are pretty easy to dodge, I'd say. It's really not memorable. It's just a fight, I'd say. I put Scorpionus Nakja and Mytha Baneful Queen on the same level. They are kind of just basic designs. There's not a lot of lore, really. Boss fight music, fine. They're just not great fights. There's not anything to write home about. Ruin Sentinels is a good fight. Ruin Sentinels is a good fight. This is one of the fights that tests your ability to, again, adapt and know the fight. If you know that if you just stay on the platform that you're only going to have to fight one until it dies, that's a lot of information that you need to know to make the fight easier. I think that it tests your knowledge of the game, which I like. I also think that the attack patterns of the Ruined Sentinels are fair, and I also, like, a lot of people think they're not fair because you get hit by, like, seemingly nothing with Ruined Sentinels. I disagree. If you, like, because the thing is that what a lot of people do is they dodge, and they're dodging too early, like, way too early, to the point where it tracks. Like, I don't think people realize that the way to dodge that smash attack is literally just walk to the left or walk to the right. because they're not going to hit you. Or walk a little bit and then dodge. The problem is that people dodge way too early on that, and I feel like they think that the hitboxes are bad. I like this fight. Seath is fucking legendary status. Seath is just looks awesome. The arena is awesome. Like, the fact that it doesn't explicitly tell you that you need to destroy the crystals in the room to be able to damage it. Again, game knowledge. And your ingenuity. Like, if you see that, and you run over and you hit it, very good intuition. Like, it's just tests how much you're paying attention to the game. The boss fight music is amazing. The attacks are great. I like the attacks. The fact that you get the fucking Moonlight Greatsword from this fight is amazing. I love this fight. I am a huge fan of Seath the Scaleless. Royal Rat Vanguard. That's a bad fight, I'd say. It is not anything to write home about. The music you don't even really care about. This is just a bunch of rats, kill them. Not a fan. Really not a fan. Is it like the worst thing ever? No, but this is bad. Royal Rat Authority, also bad. 4 rats at the beginning, bullshit. Just literally just a mangy version of Sif. Exact same attack patterns, just stay underneath it. Just not a good fight. It's just not. The Pursuer is good. Very good early game enemy, I'd say. This fight is completely fair, I'd say. The patterns are extremely easy to dodge. You kind of just walk backwards. This is a very good fight for new players to kind of test their ability on the game. You know, I really like the Pursuer. I really think that the Pursuer tests your skill very early on. It teaches you that bosses can have a majority of different weaknesses that you can exploit, of different ways to beat the boss. I really am a fan of this fight, and the fact that he appears multiple times, and the fact that you can parry him. Again, game knowledge. And when you know that you can parry the Pursuer, it becomes easy as hell. Game knowledge, game balancing. Prowling Magnus and Congregation, fucking awful, dude. It is so boring, and I don't understand how you could die to this fight. Old Iron King is good. Not great, pretty easy. It's kind of a small arena. Fucking boss music. Honestly, not a fan of the boss music. The fact that it's not super hard to dodge. I actually think that it's on the same level, I would say, as Centipede Demon, because it's kind of the same thing. Like, I think that they're very similar. Very similar. Old Dragon Slayer, average. Same, I mean, just a throwback boss to Dark Souls 1. Not at all as hard. It's just average. It's not really anything past that. Nassandra is bad. She is not a good final boss. She's really easy. She's kind of annoying. Just kind of like primarily ranged. This fight is not fun at all. I really am not a fan of it. It's boring, it's easy, it's underwhelming to the very definition of the word. Mytha Baneful Queen, average, same level as Scorpioness Noctua, just kind of a boss. The fact, actually I'll put her at okay, just because it tests your game knowledge because you have to burn the windmill. Again, showing that there are multiple, sometimes, extra things you need to do to make the bosses easier. It's not just run into every single boss room sometimes. This game rewards exploration, and bosses that are tied to exploration, I think, are good. Lud and Zalin, the King's Pets. I'd say that's an awesome fight. I do like that. That's one of the only fights where a double enemy actually makes sense. The arena is cool. I like the snow. I like the ice. Can't really remember the boss fight. Not boss fight. Boss music. The fact that you have one that can use magic and can be close up. I mean, I think that this fight is pretty good. I'd say it's awesome. Like, I feel like people remember this fight very fondly. The area leading up to the fight is fucking bullshit because you just have run through solid white with those bullshit horses. But this fight, I think, is absolutely worth it. Lost Sinner. That's a good fight. I don't think it's awesome. I mean, just because I am really not a fan of the boss music. You might as well just had it fucking quiet. It might be quiet for all I remember. I'm just not a fan of it. The attacks of this enemy are very different than the other ones. This enemy is always on the offensive. It waits for you to heal. It waits for you to be at your most vulnerable moment and then attacks. If you're not playing incredibly aggressive, this fight is going to be very, very hard for you. If you do not light the torch, this fight is going to be even harder for you. I think that the camera, if you lock on, can kind of fuck you in this fight, even when you have the lights on, but I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I don't really think any of the attacks are bullshit. I think that they're all easy to dodge once you realize that she has insane tells. I think this is a good fight. Like, this is one of those fights, you know, kind of quarter way through the game, I'd say, you know, where this is kind of where it lets you know that the fights are getting harder. They're testing your ability to read enemy attacks, dodge on time, and pinpoint enemy weaknesses. Sanctuary Garden, average. Sanctuary Guardian, pretty average. Not that good of a fight, I'd say. I mean, I used Smo's hammer to do it once, and that was not easy, just because of how slow that fucking thing was, two-handed. But I really think that this fight is easy. Like, this fight, I don't really see a lot of people dying to this, you know? It's just kind of easy, you know? It's just not, like, the hardest thing. I just think that it could have been better. If the lion was a little bit more aggressive instead of, like, kind of ranging you out, I think it would be better. Some of the attacks, like the water attack, I just think are, like, fucking stupid. They're really easy. The tail attack, I think, is kind of dumb. Like, I really don't like attacks like that, especially since the Sanctuary Guardian's tail attack is so fucking fast that a lot of the time you don't even have time to react. I mean, you should really be positioned better, but still, just not really a fan of this fight. Looking Glass Knight, I actually am going to say that that's a good fight. I mean, the Summoning Invader thing is actually really cool because it can be a real person, which makes the fight way harder, and I think that that's really, really cool. The fact that it can deflect all your miracles and magic is really cool because it forces you to get in on the boss, not just cheap it out with magic. The fact that it is so resilient against slash and thrust, I think is kind of bullshit because it basically just says, hey, you have to use a fucking, strike weapon in order to, like, do substantial damage to this boss. Otherwise, you're doing, like, 100 something. Like, you're not anywhere near the damage level you really should be, around 200. It's just, I think this is a good fight because, again, it's adaptability. You have to know how to react to this boss having insane, insane pierce damage and insane slash damage, so, like, resistance. I think that you have to kind of reevaluate your approach if you are any kind of caster. I think that the attacks of the Looking Glass Knight are very easy to dodge. They're all pretty telegraphed. They're all, like, jumping moves. It's just kind of slow. Like, I feel like this is a good fight. It's not super hard, but it just, concept-wise, like, it's good. The arena is good. Like, the design of the boss is good. I just really like this boss. I mean, I like the lightning thing they got going on. Like, This is a good fight. I really, really am a fan of this fight. Guardian Dragon. Uh... Hmm. I'd say this is a bad one. It's just kind of an easy fight. Like, you just kind of run through this motherfucker. Like, you meet him, and first of all, it's not a dragon, it's a wyvern. So, there's that. It's a wyvern. But this fight is just not all that memorable. It's pretty easy. The arena looks pretty cool. But otherwise, this thing is really easy to beat. It's not. It ain't hard. It's pretty forgettable. Giant Lord is bad. It's the exact same thing as the Lost Giant. It's as the Last Giant. It's bad. It's boring. It's lame. The arena that it takes place in is kind of cool. I don't like this fight. It's just fucking bait stomp over and over and over again. Fume Knight. Awesome fight. That fight really is testing you on your timed rolls, and it's letting you know that you can't get greedy. You can't just hit like 100 times. And you get the Fume Ultra Greatsword, which everyone fucking loves. That's like one of the best weapons. I love that weapon. No, not Fume Ultra Greatsword. What the fuck am I talking about? Fume Sword. But I like this fight a lot. I mean, I think that it's a challenging fight for sure. I like the 2 levels on it. You know, I like the fact that you have to destroy the smelter things with the smelter wedges outside, so it can't heal the boss. I really like this fight. This is a tough fight. You can't block your parry. Like, this is a fight that tests your ability to engage in hand-to-hand combat precisely, efficiently, elegantly, and not just like relying on your weapons damage output. Fucking, I tried to do this thing with double smelter hammers, couldn't do it. It's too fucking slow. Like, to even like hit once with those things, and it uses so much stamina, and it requires so much strength. I really think that this is one of those fights where it is an elegant dance between you and the enemy. I like it. Flexile Sentry, bad. Actually, you know what? It's average. It's fine. I mean, the water mechanic is kind of cool. I mean, I do like the water mechanic. The fact that this is optional is kind of, brings it a little bit lower on the list, that it's optional. The boss itself is really, really easy. The attacks are super slow. Like, they will lock themselves into like a 3-hit combo even though you're far away. Again, the water is kind of cool, but this fight is just not really anything to write home about. Executioner's Chariot, bad. Stupid gimmick boss. Actually, you know what? It's fine. It's average. The mages and the skeletons are kind of annoying, but if you kill the mages, you can kind of use the horse to your advantage. I think the actual fight with the horse is too easy. Literally, stay to the side of it. Instant winner. Like, I don't think that this is a very good fight. I don't really think anyone's going to write home about this one. I think that it's pretty average. It's fine. It just guards a covenant. It's just not... I'm just not a fan of it, honestly. I actually don't really remember Alana Squalid Queen, so I'm actually going to skip her. Dragon Rider. Awesome just because you can get him to fall off the ledge. Like, that's kind of knowledge, knowing that this motherfucker can fall off of the edge and purposely not raising the floor so that you can bait him off. I think that makes this fight awesome just because, just like Ceaseless Discharge, if you know you can do it, this is like an instant this literally is like a farm for souls. Like, when you log in when you first start a campaign in Dark Souls 2, guys, be real with me. Who the fuck doesn't beat Lost Giant and then run immediately to go kill Pursuer and just get him to fucking Pursuer and go kill Dragon Rider just to get him to fall off the edge and get like an additional like 15,000 souls just instantly. Everybody fucking does it. This fight is hilarious. It's funny. If you fight him normally, I commend you because I ain't never fucking doing that because they, it's just funnier to get this motherfucker to just dive off the edge. This is an awesome fight. It's funny. Demon of Song is awful. This fucking fight is bad. It's boring as all hell. The covering itself mechanic is stupid because it just artificially extends the length of the fight. The attacks of this motherfucker are not hard to dodge. It's really slow. This is one of the more boring fights. This is pretty awful, I'd say. Dark Lurker. That's legendary status for sure. Just the fact that you have to do so much to get to this thing makes it legendary status. You fucking get to this thing, and I'm not even telling you how. You get to this thing and you beat it. That's a fucking round of applause. Congratulations. I love this fight. I think that this fight is amazing. I think it's so cool. Like, the fact that he, like, multiplies and stuff. I think that's Dark Lurker. Because I've only fought him once, so I can't really... But I like Dark Lurker a lot, just because the Dark Diver Gandalf is cool. Favkin, or whatever the fuck his name is pretty cool. Like, there's... The whole dark plot of Dark Souls 2 is so fucking cool. Because, like, that dark plot, you're going to meet characters and stuff like that have to do with you using dark for the whole game. It's like, the fact that they put so much effort into dark, I have to commend. It is absolutely legendary status. Pinwheel is a fucking meme. Oh my god, what the fuck were you doing? Pinwheel is a meme. Covetous Demon. Oh my god, what the fuck were you doing? Terrible. Boring as fucking hell. Fat, undesigned piece of shit. It's bad. The Grave Robber. I actually don't remember either. Burnt Ivory King, legendary status. You got the Broforce to go in with you. Like, the arena is fucking sick. I love Burnt Ivory King. The arena is amazing. Like, the soundtrack is good. You got the Broforce with... It's cool. I like it. Belfry Gargoyles are bad. They are a worse version of the twin gargoyles from Dark Souls, Bell Gargoyles in Dark Souls 1. Not a fan of Belfry Gargoyles. It's kind of stupid. The fact that you have to fight like 5 enemies at the same time. It literally just devolves into run back and forth and try and single them out. I don't like this fight. Ancient Dragon, awful. It's not, oh my god, what the fuck were you doing levels of awful, because it's optional, but this fight is awful. It's bad. I'm just gonna come out and say it's bad. Nobody likes this fight because it's fucking unfair as all hell. Like, it's just stupid. I don't like it. It's not fair. It's not fun. It's just, I don't like it. Aldia Scholar, the First Sin, awful as well. This whole range thing, terrible. Stop doing it. Ava, King's Pet. If I remember, this is the one that goes invisible. This is a awesome fight. This is basically if Crossbreed Priscilla turned into a tiger. I like this fight a lot. It's gimmicky, but I think it's fun. I mean, I actually think that this fight is fun. Boar of the Boreal Valley. Good fight, I'd say. I don't think it's awesome, but I do like this fight. Like, the design is really cool. I think that this is a good fight to kind of, like, show you that they're ramping the difficulty up a little bit. You know, it's kind of letting you know, like, hey, we're getting real now, you know? I like Bort. I really do, you know? Vort. Why am I saying Bort? I really do like Vort just because his slide attacks are cool. The weapon he drops is pretty cool. I don't think the fight is unfair. I think that the fight kind of accentuates the Dark Souls 3 engine of, like, dodge a bunch. You don't really have to be super precise. Haliflight, Spear of the Church. When it works, when you get another person as Haliflight, this is a legendary fight. It's super, super, super fun. If you get computer, this fight drops to, like, okay. Soul of Cinder is a pretty awesome fight. I really like the multi-stages in this. Like, I really like the multi-stages in this. I really like the soundtrack. I like the different weapons he gets. I like the different stages. I like the fact that this is one of the FromSoft final bosses that is not gonna hold your hand. Like, this is a good fight. This is a good final boss. Is it legendary status? I'm not sure if it's legendary status. You know, just because it's just a vanilla final boss, but this is an awesome final boss. Easily the best final boss in the Dark Souls trilogy. Easily. Ornstein and Smough is legendary. Whether you like it or you don't, Ornstein and Smough is probably one of the most challenging fights you are going to get into in the entirety of Dark Souls 1. Ornstein and Smough, for me, other people think it's easy. I think this fight is fucking difficult, just because I feel like it's complete RNG. Like, whether, you know, fucking Smough is going to attack you while Ornstein is, and you're going to get double teamed. Like, the whole trying to zone them out really doesn't work, because they both have attacks that, like, run at you. Like, fucking Ornstein has his fucking, spear charge, and Smough has his, hammer charge. I think this fight is very difficult. I mean, every time that I have tried this fight, and I have played through Dark Souls 1 3 times. I'm on my 4th run right now, which I beat Ornstein Smough with the Iaito. I've actually beaten Super Smough and Super Ornstein. The fact that you can choose between those two makes this fight fucking awesome. The fact that you can get the weapons and armor makes this fight awesome. The boss music is fucking amazing. Such good boss music. The arena looks cool. The entire, like, lore behind ONS is amazing. Like, the entire lore behind Enter Orlando is fucking amazing. Like, I love this fight. I love this fight so much. It is so fun. Like, even though I'm bad at it, and I think this is one of the more challenging fights in Dark Souls 1, I do like this fight. But holy fuck, it really is difficult to me. I don't know why. It really is, though. Oh, dude, Slave Knight Gale, the best Dark Souls trilogy fight. Out of all the bosses in Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Slave Knight Gale is the best. This is the best fucking boss because Slave Knight Gale tests everything you've learned in Dark Souls 3, it seems like. Everything. The boss music is fucking amazing. The lore is amazing. Fucking the arena is amazing. His attack patterns, his character design is amazing. There is not a single aspect where this fucking fight does not excel. Easily my favorite boss in the Dark Souls trilogy. Sister Fried. Legendary for sure. I don't like Sister Fried's boss fight better than Slave Knight Gale. I think Slave Knight Gale is literally the best in all of the Dark Souls trilogy, but Sister Fried is probably second. This fight is fucking amazing. The lore is amazing. The cutscenes are amazing. Like, the fact that you have to have a 3-stage boss fight and they give you a Titanite slab is fucking amazing. Like, this is a fun fight. I love this fight. It's so good. Like, I like Sister Fried and Father Arundel probably the best out of just Sister Fried or Black Flame Fried, but this fight is legendary status. Abso-fucking-lutely. Pontiff Sulyvahn. Awesome. I would not say legendary status. I don't think he's that good, but Pontiff, challenging. Very challenging. In Dark Souls 3, one of the bosses that will always, no matter how many times I've played the game, will always give me challenge. Fucking Pontiff is aggressive. He's fast. He has double elements. Like, you're fighting in an enclosed area in a church. Like, I really like this fight. This is an awesome fight. I am pretty sure that when people complete Dark Souls 3, this is one of the better fights that they remember. This is a fight that's probably going to stick with them for a while, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's difficult. I think that, like, even for people who are veterans of the series, this is gonna be a difficult fight because the entire thing is timing. Like, you really gotta learn. Pontiff Sulyvahn is one of those bosses where you have to learn every single attack pattern, kind of like Slave Knight Gale. Slave Knight Gale, you have to know every single attack pattern, and once you know it, you can beat this motherfucker flawlessly, easily. Pontiff is the same way. But Pontiff's attacks, because of how he looks and the fact that he's holding 2 swords, you have no fucking idea, like, what attack pattern he's going to do until he's, like, already in it. You know? You don't know if he's going to be the 1 swipe, the 3 swipes. It all looks the same. And fucking Pontiff Sulyvahn is just so much color in one area. It's really hard to read. But I think this fight's really cool. I love Pontiff Sulyvahn. Even though it gives me challenge, I really like Pontiff. Old Demon King. Awesome as well. I like this fight a lot. I think that this fight is completely fair. I really like Ash Lake. Ash Lake, what the fuck? Smoldering Lake. I really like this boss's patterns. I think that this boss has some attacks that people might think are a little bit bullshit, like the ground flame. Like, how do you dodge that besides just running away? And the bait where it lures you in and kills you with the giant explosion. But again, that's just game knowledge. Like, if you know about this boss, it's going to be way easier. You know, it's just game knowledge. Like, and it makes sure that, like, your nerves aren't getting the better of you. Like, you're not, you know, it makes sure that, like, you're not being, hasty with your decisions, just running in and trying to kill it. Like, it lured you in, it fucking got you, dude. It got your ass, you know? It tricked you. I mean, that's a battle strategy. Fucking all's fair, love, and war. You know? I really like fucking Old Demon King. I think Old Demon King is a good fight. I think people remember it as challenging, maybe a little bit unfair, but I feel like people in general really like this boss, and I do too. Cyros, Consumed King. I'd say good. I would say good. I mean, it's kind of just a repeat of Bort. God damn it. It's kind of a repeat of Vort without, like, the hammer. It's kind of the same thing. It's fine. It's fine where it is. I mean, it's just fine. Nameless King, awesome. Like, this fight's fucking tough. But again, once you memorize his patterns, you can defeat this motherfucker easily. The 2 stages are kind of cool. It's a secret. I think that's kind of cool. Like, I do like this boss, and I do like the whole, like, dragon at the beginning, because, again, I don't think the dragon is super hard to beat. You kind of just, like, stay next to him, you know, like, behind the head, and just kind of wail on him. I mean, he staggers pretty easily. If you use lightning, it really destroys this dude. I think Nameless King is very, very, very challenging for people at first, but when you stop and analyze his patterns, he is not hard at all. Like, he has a lot of openings. He recovers pretty slowly, I'd say. His attacks, you can just kind of, like, dodge back, but even if you don't dodge back, it's usually just, like, left to right swipes. I mean, I like this fight. It's an awesome fight. The arena is fucking cool. Like, the soundtrack is cool. The designs are cool. This is a good fight. Lothric Younger Prince. Another awesome fight. I fucking love that fight. Like, the multi-stage is cool. The lore is cool. The music is fucking phenomenal. The boss arena is cool. His attack patterns are cool. I don't think it's overly hard or unfair. I really love all the designs. I love the fight. I love the mechanics, like the healing. I really love a lot about this fight. This is, again, one of Dark Souls, one of the Dark Souls trilogy's better fights. Like, especially for Dark Souls 3. This is probably one of my favorite Dark Souls 3 fights, because it's not unfair. It's so fun. It's fair. Like, the patterns are easy. Like, they're not the easiest, but they're fine. Like, they're easy. You know, they're not, like, ridiculously hard. I really, really like this fight a lot. This is another awesome fight. Iudex Gundyr, I think, is good. I say Iudex Gundyr is good because it's a good introduction into the way more crisp, clean, fast-paced, fluid fight of Dark Souls 3. I think Gundyr is a boss that you really shouldn't die to more than, like, a couple of times, if at all, you know? I mean, you can have... I understand that people will have challenge with it, but it's a boss where I feel like people beat it in, you know, about, like, 5 tries. Like, I just really am a fan of this boss. I really think that this is a good beginning boss. I think Udix Gundyr is kind of how you do a boss fight, a first boss fight the correct way. You know, I think that it is one of the probably the best starting boss out of all the Dark Souls games, honestly. I think it's probably the best starting boss. I think that this is how you do a boss. High Lord Walnir is an awesome fight. People get fucking pissed off because, like, oh, the smoke, blah, blah, blah. If you run all the way up to the fucking wall, he won't do the smoke. It won't reach up there, so it won't kill you. That and the fact that it's gimmicky, but I like this fight. I think this fight is kind of, it's different. This is a very different fight. I think that dodging Walnir is pretty easy, and Walnir doesn't really do enough damage to kill you in one hit anyway, I feel like. You can kill the skeleton with his breath, and the thing is that he will not, like, go all the way up to the wall with his breath. Like, he will, like, back up. You know what I'm saying? This is a fair fight. People who can't get this one are just not paying attention to the smoke. They're not understanding how the boss fight works. This is an awesome fight. Like, it's a gimmick fight. This is how you do gimmick fights the right way. I like this fight a lot. Curse Rotted Greatwood is okay. It's kind of cool because it gives you the Mound Makers, and I feel like a lot of people co-op on this. It's kind of stupid because there's so many enemies running around, but the Curse Rotted Greatwood's attacks himself are pretty easy to dodge. Like, he's really slow, super easy to dodge. You hit giant ball sacks on him. I feel like this fight is only okay because some of them are, like, impossible to hit. Like, you have to have him lying down on his back in order to hit him. So, again, it just kind of makes the boss fight go a little bit longer than I would really kind of prefer. And I just think that it can be kind of annoying with its gimmicks. Moonlight Butterfly is average. I really don't think anyone has strong feelings against this boss. I think it's kind of shitty. It's just kind of boring. It's just all ranged, and there's no physical attacks. It's only 2 attacks. This fight is just kind of tedious. I mean, I don't even think that the attacks are, like, hard to dodge. It's just the fact that this fight can take, like, 10 fucking minutes. Like, if you're a caster and you don't have a lot of, like, physical attributes, this fight takes forever. Like, it's average for sure. It's not great. Champions Gravetender and Wolf, I'm going to say, is good. The arena's pretty good. I just love wolves, and I love how the fact that it's kind of Sif again, you know? But I do really like the fact that you fight a human boss and a wolf at the same time. I think that this is one of the better 2-person boss fights. I like the boss music. The arena is cool. I just really like the look of the wolf because you fight the wolf earlier, you know? So I like that because they keep that, like, consistent. They, like, allude to the wolf, which I think is really cool. So I think that the rush attacks of the boss are really cool. Of the wolf, because it really makes it so that you have to use the arena to your advantage. And I love how the wolf will, like, power up. It's kind of like Knight Artorias. I like this fight. I don't think it's, like, an awesome fight or anything, but this is a good fight. Like, people, I feel like they're not going to remember this fight, but it's not going to be, like, notoriously bad either. Dragon Slayer armor, I'm just going to say, is average. I don't really like the fight. I don't like how you can fall off the edge, even though it's just kind of positioning. I really don't like the fucking dragon that shoots bullshit at you, because there's nothing you can do about it except for dodge it. I don't like that. The attacks of the boss are fine. I don't really have any problems with the attacks of the boss. If you're playing this on, like, an Xbox, the frame rate is really fucking bad sometimes. Like, I feel like this fight, just because there's so many things going on, like, literally does decrease your frame rate and kind of fuck up your resolution. Because even I've had that. Because, like, I've played this game on Xbox One and, you know, One X. But I was playing on Xbox One, and this fucking fight destroyed the frame rate. So I think it's average. This fight really is just kind of, hey, it's some armor. I don't think it's great. Demon Prince. Awesome. I don't think legendary, but Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put this one at legendary as well. Demon Prince. Just because of the fact that it's a 2-on-1 boss fight at the beginning, and then it's a 1-on-1 after that, and the fact that, again, it's game knowledge. If you kill one first, and then you, like, pay attention to what attacks the boss does, and then you kill the other one first, you can make the fight way, way, way easier on yourself. I think that the attacks, like the Poison Cloud, is cool. Like, it's easy to dodge, so it's an attack that leaves them open. You just have to dodge out of it. The smash attacks, like the stomping attacks when they run at you, pretty easy to dodge too. I feel like this is one of those fights where you just stay either behind them or super close to them, and they can't really hit you all that well. The actual Demon Prince himself, not Demon in Pain or Demon from Below, actual Demon Prince himself, depending on which one you kill first, can be complete fucking bullshit. He can also be extremely easy. Again, it's game knowledge. I think that this is a good fight. I think that if you know what you're doing with this fight, even when you know what you're doing, this is still a pretty decent challenge. Deacons of the Deep, bad. It's not good. I don't like these multi-fucking-person boss fights. This one's a little bit better because they can just instantly kill you. And you can, like, knock them over and stuff. I'm not a fan of this fight. It's just not very good. Dark Eater Midir. Oh my god, what the fuck were you doing? Just because it's so fucking hard, like, it's almost impossible to beat this motherfucker with Pestilent Mist, because if you lock on to this dude, he is so fucking big, you cannot dodge his attacks. That and the fact that Midir has a 6 fucking piece combo, dude. He can do anywhere from a 1 piece to a 6 piece. This fucking boss is ridiculously hard. The camera fucks you every single way. Like, this fight is one of those where it's like, seriously, what in the fuck were you doing? I think Midir looks fucking awesome, you know? But still, like, this fight is just... It's fucking grueling, dude. It's ridiculous. I don't even think it's fair. That's my main critique on it. Like, Slave Knight Gale, fucking insanely, like, difficult. Fair. I don't think Dark Eater Midir is fair. You cannot fucking see what is going on. You have to not use fucking lock-on. And if you don't use lock-on, you still can't fucking see, because the camera will, like, rotate away. I don't understand how you're supposed to do this fight. I really don't. I'm not a fan of this one. Every time I go to Midir, it's like, wow, I'm ready to get Pestilent Mist and fucking kill this thing. Because that's the only way I'm ever going to fight that fucking thing. Dancer of the Boreal Valley. Legendary for sure. I love Dancer. Dancer is just the quintessential definition of war as an art form. You know, like, battle as an art form. She literally is dancing the entire time. She's elegant, graceful on her feet. Like, this is, again, one of those where you are locked in an elegant dance with this boss. You cannot lose your composure. You cannot multiple dodge. You cannot, like, lose your composure and just fucking freak out with this thing. You have to be locked in, paying attention, focused at all times, locked into this elegant dance with Dancer. And I do like the design of Dancer as well. I like the double swords of Dancer. I think that Dancer mimics the bosses in Central Ithriel very, very well, because they also have the spinning attack. You know, I think that Dancer should have been the boss for fucking Central Ithriel and not Pontiff. I think that fucking Dancer is an amazing boss to tie that area all together. I think that it also makes it better because the actual design of Dancer kind of helps you beat her, because if you pay attention to her, like, her back leg, she has to turn, like, all the way around to hit you, you know, instead of, like, with the left leg, where she can just kind of, like, hit you really quickly. So if you stay behind her and stay near her right leg, you can beat this boss without getting hit really easily. I really like this fight. I think that the music is beautiful. I love just the feeling of being in this fight. This is a legendary fight for sure. Crystal Sage. Okay. I mean, it's fine. Another fucking ranged-only boss that multiplicates themselves. It's fine. Champion Gundyr. Champion Gundyr is a good boss. I don't understand how people struggle with Champion Gundyr, because it's kind of the exact same thing as Udix Gundyr. I've never had trouble with this boss. I think it's kind of just the same thing over again. I would put this on like the same level as the Stray Demon, but it's a little bit better than that because it is a better version, like a upgraded version of Udix, and I just think Udix is better than Stray Demon anyway. Ancient Wyvern, Dark Souls 3. I'm trying to even remember what the fuck what that fight even was. I actually might have to I don't remember the Ancient Wyvern fight. I know I've done it, I just don't. Oh, okay, yeah. The one where you have to fucking plunge attack. Absolute fucking dog shit. Bad. Not fun at all. Aldrich, Devourer of Gods. That's a good fight. I don't think it's awesome status. I think that's a good fight. One, in my opinion, kind of how you do a ranged fight the correct way. I think that just the design of Aldrich is fucking cool. I love how it's in Orlando. I love how it's the ONS boss room. I do like the music a lot. I love the design because you can like hit the very back of it, but if you hit the front, if you hit the front, then it does more damage. I'm gonna put it at awesome, actually. This is a very good fight. Let's see. Manus, Father of the Abyss. Awesome fight. Difficult. I don't think it's legendary. Awesome fight. Very difficult. The fact that you can have Sif in the room with you is fucking cool. Because you get to be friends with Sif. It's cool. You saved her. Even though it makes killing Sif 1,000,000,000% more brutal and harsh because she knows who you are because you saved her. So... But still, just because I love Sif so much, and just because I really think that this is a fun fight, I'm going to put it at awesome status. Abyss Watchers is also awesome. I don't know if it's legendary. Abyss Watchers is fucking cool. Easily one of the best, like, fight 4 dudes boss fights. Because one of them is on your side. Like, it's very, very, very awesome. The lore is amazing. I love this fight. You know what? Fuck it. I'm putting this one at legendary. I feel like this is a fight that people remember. They like this fight a lot. I really do like the Abyss Watchers. Just, his final form is cool. Again, just like Dancer, I love Abyss Watchers because it feels legit like a dance. Like, all of his attacks have a purpose. You can dodge all of them easily. Like, you keep your composure, and you can backstab this dude. You can fucking parry this. I love this fight. I am a huge fan of Abyss Watchers. Every time I come up on Abyss Watchers, I'm excited for the fight. Knight Artorias. I'm going to get a lot of shit for this. Good. I do not think Knight Artorias is that... I don't know. I just don't think he's that great. Just because if you know that if you hit him a couple of times while he's powering up, you can just stop him from powering up. That kind of makes the fight way easier, and it just kind of like ruins the impact. If you let him charge up, he charges up like so many times, the fight almost becomes fucking impossible just because he has so much damage resistance. He does so much damage. I just don't... it's a good fight, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's awesome. I mean... You know what? I will put it at awesome. I just don't think it's legendary status, but it definitely is awesome. I mean, I think that Knight Artorias is a pretty awesome fight, for sure. I mean, just the look of Knight Artorias is cool. Like, I think just the entire DLC is really fucking cool. It has amazing, like, NPCs. I love the areas. So, yeah, the only ones I didn't do are Alana, Squalid Queen, and Saravaro and Grave Robber. So this right here is my final tier list for all of the Dark Souls bosses. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave your opinions in the comments. I'd fucking love to hear them, you know? Check out the YouTube channel whenever we post the link, which we're not going to until we put a song on there. Again, I'm sorry that we have not been uploading for so many months. Like, I know that a lot of people are probably gone at this point, but For those that stuck around, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we're not giving up. Like, we just filmed a fucking 4-hour slap fight video talking about why Power Slap was different compared to Slap Fight, why it was more dangerous, the issues that they had. And my fucking computer didn't record the actual fucking video, so it was just us and nothing else. You would just been staring at a blank screen of us reacting to something, so we had to delete that. But thank you very much for watching. Again, if you want to talk about Dark Souls, you want to talk about, Bloodborne, anything like that, please go ahead and do so. This is probably my favorite game series. This is one of the, these are games that, even if I've beaten them 6 times, I still want to jump in and do another run. I mean, I really am a fan of these fights. I'm really a fan of these games, this entire series in general, So, if you liked, please like, comment, maybe consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out a lot. Please comment so we can, talk about it. But that's gonna do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. See ya.